Morning gardening friends, going live with Keith Edwards to talk heirloom veggies. I'm just going to try and join him in, so hold tight. It can take a minute. Oh, that was
Hello.
easy. Yay! Hello.
That was quick.
That's how it should be. How are you?
I'm well, sweetheart. How are you?
Oh, so good. I can't believe it's like been so long since the Warren event and we got to meet in person.
That was fabulous, wasn't it? What a great event. Just beautiful, beautiful people up there. Loved every single minute of it. It was just
Oh, so good. And to finally meet you and Leslie, it was just, a dream come true. The whole event was just, breathtaking. It was fabulous.
was.
And you played such an important role being guest speaker and all of the things you were doing. You were even on stage and you were like Oprah. You had all these goodies and we're giving them away. People were walking away with like prepping forks under their arms. They've got Clyde compost. They had Vera soil, Monash. You had everything, microgold. Oh, you were just like, everyone got something.
The gardening Father Christmas I was. But
Oh.
thanks so much to all those people that supplied all that stuff that we could give away and that they could take home, experiment with, and then just see just what they could create from it. I think that was just beautiful. So I really love that part of that. It was great.
Yeah, and I was kicking myself, but I had like all the little goodies that I got from the morning, and I left them under my chair.
Oh,
But
I
I use all those products anyway, so I had them at home.
Oh, that's something anyway. That's good.
So we
All
meet
right.
again, yay!
Yeah, exactly.
And we
Exactly.
haven't really we've kind of spoken about this a little bit, heirloom veggies, but we probably
Yeah.
haven't just had it as a topic. So I'm excited to talk about it because you can get a bit complacent and then go for convenience. So
Yeah,
today,
that's dead
hopefully,
right.
we set it
You
back up to
nailed that.
being a priority.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a it's a beautiful subject to be talking about because the heirloom vegetables are such an important part of our lives. People don't seem to realise that. Um, we've lost so many heirlooms because people have found that the convenience of going down to the supermarket and buying what's available. It's just seen a lot of our culture and our seed saving just vanished, and that's a real worry. And it's only going to get worse unless the likes of, I mean, the forefront of this was actually the Diggers Club. They were absolutely brilliant in championing the heirloom seeds and so forth. But that came about by one of the owners, the key owners, Penny and Clive, going over to America to see Seed Savers Exchange, which is in Iowa, and they met the guys in there that had gone around and collected and saved these beautiful, valuable heirloom seeds, and they had a bank in there of over 25,000 varieties of vegetables. And when you think about that, that is just absolutely mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. So the demise of our heirlooms actually came along with supermarkets and then refrigeration.
Yeah.
And that's where our food has declined so much. There was a survey done on some of the produce that was in a supermarket kept under cold storage that was 9 months old.
Yeah.
Can you
Wow.
imagine that?
It
Now,
should. Yeah.
it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind blowing. But the other side of that is that in order to fulfill the shelves in the supermarkets, the actual vegetables, for instance, are picked before they have an opportunity to turn their sugars into, they don't have an opportunity to create sugars or antioxidants or anything else. They're picked too early. And a lot of the orchardists, for instance, are pumping their fruit and vegetables with water. So it's got a
Yeah.
heavy content, but no goodness in it.
Mm.
And that's the real shame. So,
Yeah. And I did a bit of a deep dive, went down a bit of a rabbit hole last night about like seeds and heirloom seeds. So to be an heirloom seed, it needs to be at least 50 years old. So it's generationally passed down and just keeping
yes,
back to the parent plant
yes.
rather than like crossing with two different plants and it loses its origin, like their true origin. Is that
Um,
right?
no, that's not quite right, Joe, because the key to an heirloom vegetable is the one word or two words: open pollinated.
Yeah.
Which means that particular plant that you sow is pollinated by bees, birds, whatever else, and then if you save those seeds, they will grow true to type the following year. And that's what our immigrants used to do. They used to have their own little backyards where they grew all their vegetables, because there was no supermarkets back in the 1950s. So they had to grow their own produce. So they were exposed to food that was available during that particular period, not available in the supermarket all year round. It was seasonal produce, and therefore it was grown with love. So these people, these immigrants, they used to save their best seeds, and they actually brought them to other countries because they were so prized. And then they carried on that tradition over here. So heirloom seeds can be really classified as something that predates the 1950s, because that was when supermarkets and when refrigeration really started to take off. That's not to say that there are not new heirlooms, but the old varieties are probably these ones that are most sought after, I guess.
And I was reading, like, how you said people bought their seeds across, that if you're keeping with your heirloom seeds, they will adapt to your yard, your climate. Each year you'll get a better yield because they're setting into your environment.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you an idea, we have just recently sown some soybeans that we collected the seeds, or we bought the seeds, but this year we collected the seeds and then we've resown them. And those soybean seeds are up in 2 days.
Yeah, wow.
It's just incredible. The genetics that's in there. It's like a USB. It's all the information's inside that.
Yeah.
But when you give it the contact with the earth and water, bang, it turns itself on. And that's nutrient dense food. If you're growing it in the good stuff that we're all growing our vegetables in, then you've got the best possible varieties, happening in your own garden.
Yeah. And I was reading, and you might have to correct me a couple of times, is like the open pollination, the OP like symbol that comes up on packet, doesn't necessarily mean heirloom though. No. They're saying like you have to be careful, like you have to still look for the heirloom, because if it says OP, doesn't necessarily mean heirloom.
No, it doesn't. It means that is true to type. That's all that means. It doesn't mean that it's got the history and the provenance of the actual vegetable that was grown way back many, many years ago. But, we're talking about open pollinated heirloom seeds. Just to give you an idea, there is the particular tomato, and I don't know whether you've come across it at all. It's called mortgage lifter. Okay. And mortgage lifter is classified as an heirloom. It was created in 1948 in a little Wisconsin town in the States, and it was grown by a chap by the name of Radiator Charlie.
Okay.
Because his job was repairing radiators. He was at the bottom of the mountain where the mine was up the top. So he was fixing radiators on trucks and all these things. So he had a particular passion, no horticultural breeding or understanding whatsoever, but he managed to cross 3 beefsteak varieties of tomatoes and came up with this one ripper they called it Radiator Charlie's Mortgage Lifter. And he actually saved the seeds of that tomato, and he used to grow them every single year, and he used to sell them for $1 each.
Yeah, right.
And he paid off his mortgage in 5 years. Oh. It's gorgeous, and that is still available. That variety is still available today, Mortgage Lifter, and it's got a beautiful story to it. It's just wonderful.
It does, and I when I was researching yesterday, like, you can obviously, the heirloom is what we're going for, and then open pollinate, but there's some like to completely avoid, like what is it, GMO, like but some say non-GMO, but that doesn't still mean heirloom, and it still doesn't mean open pollinated. Like, it may seem like a better option, but it's still, it's not what we're going for. It's the heirloom. And what I'm in Forbes, and for me to go and try and find heirloom seeds, I don't think I can. I think there have been at times I've been able to find them very hard. So I do go online, and I found, looking at the websites last night, most of the seed companies online do have a section that says heirloom, so you can go straight to that section
Yes.
and it will show you what heirloom seeds are available.
Yeah.
Because like there's thousands, but only a pocket of them are the heirlooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The ones that you will normally buy from the supermarkets have a classification called F1. So they've got a capital F with the number 1, and that is called filial 1. And what that means is that they have been created in a laboratory.
Yeah.
So let's take if you went to the supermarket today and you went to look for a great big bright red tomato and picked it up off the shelf, the variety would most likely be a variety called Flavor Top, and that is an F1 created tomato that's been created in a laboratory. So what the seed companies did with Flavor Top F1 is they produce a tomato that has had a gene inserted into it that stops it actually ripening. I mean, can you figure that out? It stops it ripening.
Yeah, for the shelf life.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
so it's got a skin so thick, and it's got absolutely no flavour whatsoever in it. And when the seed company released that particular tomato to go and sell to all the growers, they actually advertised it with the tomatoes sitting on a bench, 2 tomatoes sitting on a bench, bright red, and on top of the 2 tomatoes was a brick.
What?
A brick, and that was their advertising. And the whole point of that was to show the growers that this tomato could tolerate lots and lots of hard travelling, and it could be both produce and box on the supermarket shelf. And those things just never ripen, and that is why tomatoes are the most grown varieties of all vegetables today, is because people know what a good tomato tastes like and they want to replicate it, so they grow their own, and then they have to put up with all the crap for the rest of the year.
That's true. So true. Oh yeah, you jar it, pickle it, and all those things, preserve it.
Yeah.
Because I was reading when they were doing all the lab changes and adding genes to try and stop the seed or the vegetable from getting disease or minimizing that, but it has like hardly anywhere near the nutrients. It may look good, it may look bright on the supermarket, shelf, but there's no nutrients in it.
There's no goodness in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there's no flavour and taste, which are the 2 main things. And, so if you could imagine a child living in a city, the last thing he wants to eat is a bloody vegetable because he knows it's got no flavour.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about what you have, what you've created that I'm looking at behind you right now, is you've got a beautiful array out there of fabulous vegetables.
Yeah.
That you are providing the opportunity for your children to have that wonderful taste and flavour. And I think that
Frankie just picked our first cherry tomato the other day, and her little face was beaming and I got the second one, but it just was like next level. It's so good when you can just go pick them off. I call them like the patch snack, like you can just go out and eat them. They don't make it inside the house.
That's beautiful. Yeah, love it. Yeah, and look, I enjoy the same thing with my grandkids coming here. They just wander out the backyard and go around and graze, but they know what they're picking is been grown with love. It's been grown with beautiful soil, and it's an heirloom. It's an open pollinated, beautiful vegetable that's got history, provenance, the works, and that's just wonderful. And our ability to actually save those is just sensational. You can do that with a lot of vegetables, but there's some that you've got to be very mindful about saving the seeds from. And I'll give you a couple of examples here. If you grow a lot of different types of tomatoes all in the one bed, you might create your own open pollinated cross.
Yeah.
Because that's just the nature of the beast. And of course, tomatoes don't need bees to pollinate them.
No.
They're pollinated by the air as well. Another one is growing things like anything in the cucurbit family, such as cucumbers and zucchinis and these sorts of pumpkins, any of those sorts of things. If you want to save the seeds from those, then what you have to do is monitor them and actually pollinate them yourself.
Yeah, so, hand pollinate. Yeah.
Yeah, hand pollinate them. So find the female flower, pollinate it with the male flower, and then once you've done that, get an elastic band and put it over the actual petals of the flower, and that will stop any open cross
Yeah,
pollination
right.
of
Oh, there you
something
go.
else. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
but you can
brilliant.
control that, you know.
Yes. So for most of us, where some of us can go into like more city nurseries to get the seeds heirloom, but being in rural, basically we need to shop online. I was going through my seeds, and some of the packaging doesn't have it listed on there, but when I'm on the website, I can see it's under the category and it's listed clearly. So
Yep.
like these guys, the little veggie patch, like it's listed, all their heirlooms
Yep.
are listed.
Yep.
Then I went into like these romas, not listed with heirloom. Which ones? These ones here, but they are heirloom and open pollinated, listed on the website. So if you go on the website and you're choosing and you've ordered an heirloom, then even if it's not on the packet, you've done your research. But
Exactly.
going into like a nursery and there's no listing on there. It might just say non-GMO. You don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry.
You're
My
right.
phone. Yep, my phone just went silly. So yeah, ordering online if you can't trust what's in the store. But so there's a lot of people that are new to gardening that are still buy seedlings, and even me the other day I went to grow some beans, and I think the birds and slugs got them. So I ended up going to buy seedlings. Didn't even think about heirloom though or anything like that. How do you tell in a nursery if you get all the little punnets and they're all on the shelves? Most likely they're not heirloom. I did
No.
see some diggers ones around, so potentially they were. Like, how do you go for the people that are still at seedling buying stage?
Well, I don't know whether you have any of these seedlings up your way, but there are some companies that are selling open pollinated heirloom vegetables. The Diggers Club, for instance, has got an arrangement with some seed growers that actually grow seedlings with the Diggers Club on it. Now, all of those are open pollinated, with an exception, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you really need to be looking at the back of the tag, and it should have on it that it's either it will have on it an F1 written on the back of the actual label somewhere, and because otherwise you don't know what the hell you're buying.
Yes.
And I just said that there is an exception, and I'm not saying that all filial ones or F1 hybrids are bad, because
No.
there's actually some that you cannot get as an open pollinated vegetable, and one of those is, in actual fact, is corn.
Yeah. Okay.
Corn are all hybrid F1s.
Are they? Because I got these are corn sweet Balinese, and it was listed as a heirloom.
Yeah, I would have I would have trouble believing that,
Right.
because if you think about corn actually comes from maize,
Okay.
and maize is a much smaller variety that's useless to cook. It's got to be ground into a corn meal
Corn flour. Yeah.
to make a flour.
Yeah.
So what they did is they did cross pollinate a lot of those, and they've come up with varieties that do stand. There's one that's called Breakthrough, which is an absolute ripper. Sweet and Creamy is another one. There's a few of these really old varieties of corn that are actually hybrid F1s. But
Yeah.
the ones you really need to be watching out for are actually the GMOs. They're some of the worst you can possibly get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to give you an example of that, canola, for instance, there was a lot of canola that had inserted into the actual plant or the actual seed, to make it resistant to Roundup. All right. So the idea of that was that you could go out and sow a whole field of this genetically modified canola, and then you could, if you had any weeds, you could just load it up into the back of your tractor and go out and spray the whole thing with Roundup. And
Right.
it would kill all the weeds, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't kill the canola. Now the problem with that is that you create other weed problems. So if you think about it, on the farm they're all harvested and loaded onto the truck. The truck drives out the driveway, goes down the road, and as it goes around the corner, a few seeds fall off onto the side of the road. Now those seeds can stay viable for up to 8 years.
Yeah, right.
And then they're going to become weeds. You know, so so the only way to get rid of those effectively is to go out there and hand pick the bloody things.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
so we create all these problems ourselves. We don't, but the
Yeah,
companies do because of the profit. Now,
yeah.
just to give you an idea about how much profit there is in these hybrid F1s, for instance, let's go back to the Flavorite F1 tomato. And let me tell you that if you had a packet of seeds that weighed 1 gram of Flavorite F1 tomato seeds, that 1 gram of seeds is worth more than 1 gram of gold.
What?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
dead right. Yep,
yeah,
that's dead right. And this is where the seed companies went out to the market gardeners and just sold them. You know, this is the best tomato on the market. You're gonna get lots and lots of profit out of it. It's going to be, you're going to be a high yield and all the rest of it. And that's just absolute rubbish. You know, we've got heirloom vegetables that will yield more than a hybrid F1. And one example of that is tigerella, for instance, will actually produce up to 20 kilos of fruit, off one tomato plant,
yeah,
So that's it, we're being
yeah.
hoodwinked all the time. But yeah,
So and for me, I needed this conversation again because, like I said, it did fall into like a bit of like forgetfulness and then the convenience of it. But yeah, like setting yourself up ready for the season in advance so you're not caught out. Yeah, and if you are stuck with just going to the nursery and you do buy one of those seedlings, not to save those seeds because it's going to throw back to any
yeah.
parenting plant. Like it's not going to be the same.
No,
Like, yeah.
a good example of that is if you grow a tomato F1 and you put it in your garden bed and a tomato falls on the ground, it is more likely that tomato will revert back to the original plant that was the most productive part of that particular plant.
Yeah.
So, for instance, when they're in a laboratory, they look at a particular tomato and they say, okay, well, I'm going to take the genes from that red one, I'm going to cross it with the genes from that yellow one, and I'm going to use the rootstock from a little tiny midget tomato. So they they take all those parts and blend it into the one. So one of those seeds, an F1 seed, will either be sterile, it means it won't grow at all,
Yeah.
or it will revert back to one of the old varieties that it came from. And most likely it'll be the little tiny tomato that's about this big, that's absolutely, productive, but, not much chop.
Yeah. 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 No, I think it's an important reminder. So, yeah, heirloom. And yeah, it's a shame that I don't think, like, being you, like, I'm only 2 years in. If I hadn't had these conversations with you, I would be oblivious to it. It's like, just not, you only know what you know, like, so I think some people
Yeah,
might
but
be hearing this for the first time.
you've got the interest to find out, Joe, and that's the beauty
Yeah.
about you, darling. You'll be sitting in my chair,
Oh,
in another couple of years' time, sweetheart. I'm telling you now.
no, I'll be like, I'll ask Keith. Keith
No,
said. Yeah,
no.
you've got all the science. I know it like down to like the sandpit level of what you're talking about. So no, it's brilliant. So yeah. Anyway, that was a bit of a snappy topic for today, but yeah, just I know most people have their summer veggies in, but there's always next year. So just now's
Yeah,
the time. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah. So where you can support those seed companies that are growing them and selling the open pollinated. I use a lot of seeds from the seed company,
yeah,
and one of the main reasons for that is that it's only a small company. The seed packets are all heirlooms, and they are really, really good value for money. So they're terrific in that respect. And that's why I love to support those small little companies. And the same goes with a lot of their other products as well. They're just a great company to deal with. There used to be Seed Freaks. I think they're having a bit of a break, so they're not producing anything. They were down in Tasmania. I think they've also stopped doing production. So there's less and less. So the more you support these little small seed companies, the better it's going to be for all.
yeah. Like I've gotten ones from the Happy Valley Seeds.
Yep, they're good.
Yeah. D and H seed harvest. I think that might be down in Victoria, actually. Yeah, the seed collection. There's so many on there, and they're all like little family businesses. So, yeah, get on and support
Get on and
those.
support them.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely.
And
You know,
you're still down there in the cold, hey? And I've like as soon as that sun comes up over that tree, I'm going to boil. Yeah, 36 today
hey,
again.
listen, look, thanks very much for the offer of sending down 10 degrees of heat. I don't want it. I don't want it. My garden will grow nicely just by
Yes,
itself.
I know. All of it's so confusing. We've had like the heater on, the cooler on, like
Oh,
it's yeah, being like whiplash.
yeah, that's
But
unbelievable.
anyway, everything's starting to take off, and can't
Yeah,
wait for summer veg.
brilliant. So are we. We're looking forward to it too. But you know, we're about probably 3-4 weeks behind you up there. You know, so your tomatoes are a lot bigger than mine. I haven't put in any of my cucumbers or zucchini or anything else into the bed yet. I'm just growing those in little paper pots. And
Yeah.
once they get big enough, the soil warmth will indicate the time for them to go into the ground, you know. So
Yeah. And you were talking about the farms just before, and like, you know, I think Queensland's finished their harvest where, you know, like all states do their harvest at different times, like in
exactly,
sowing and harvest because of the weather. And, you know, the town next door, like even from Forbes to my hometown, Hungary, they have different harvest times. So, you know, same with the garden. Like you just got to follow that, you know, your weather in your town and your soil.
exactly,
So, yes,
exactly.
all good. You'll get there.
We will. It's coming.
All right, we'll let
All
you
right,
go. We'll
Joe.
do another topic soon.
Okay, sweetheart. Lovely to see you again.
Appreciate
Lovely
you.
to have a chat. And
See you too.
thanks for
Okay, bye
everyone.
everyone. Thanks for jumping on.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.